Welcome to Camelot Chat. I'm your hostess, Shannon Watson, and this week's episode is Bertolais or Bertilak. A seneschal, a murderer, and the Green Knight walk into a bar. Let's get started. In my last episode, I postulated that King Leodegan's cuckolded seneschal Cleodalis and his disgraced murderer's former knight, Bertolais, were one and the same man. I also suggested that Bertolais served not only as seneschal, or house steward, or historian, but fulfilled a more arcane function. I believe there is also another connection to the English romance Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The title is a later addition to the work, and its author remains unknown. What is known is that Sir Gawain was written in Middle English in a Northwest Midlands dialect in late 14th century England. To a simple summary of the work, then. A strange knight, clad all in green, shows up at Christmas time at King Arthur's court. He challenges any of Arthur's knights who dares to cut off his head with an axe. He will return the blow 1 year hence. Naturally, no one wants to accept the challenge. No one, that is, except Arthur's doughty nephew, Sir Gawain, who steps up to the plate and accordingly cuts off the Green Knight's head. Laughing, the Green Knight picks up his head, which bids Gawain to meet him 1 year later at the Green Chapel, to keep his end of the bargain. A year later, venturing forth to locate this legendary Green Chapel, Gawain stumbles across a beautiful castle. He explains his quest to the lord and lady of the manor, who offer to host him in their elegant home. The lord of the manor tells him the Green Chapel lies 2 miles hence and gives him directions. The Green Chapel turns out to be a simple earthen mound concealing a cavern, where Gawain finds the Green Knight sharpening his axe. Eventually, this Green Knight is revealed to be the same man as the lord of the manor. His name is Bertilak de Haute Desert. That name, Bertilak, sounds familiar, doesn't it? But before we get into that, let's pull a few other references from the text. The official title, Green Knight, would have appeared almost identical in Middle English as it does in modern English, simply indicating a green knight, noble, or warrior. A knight in the 15th century would have been pretty much equivalent with what we think of when we think of a knight now: an armored soldier, a noble, a potentate, a fighter, or at least a servant or attendant. Of course, in the early Middle Ages, when Gawain actually lived, we'd be looking at something more akin to a wild-eyed, skin-wearing warrior. Think Braveheart, not A Knight's Tale. The color green also has more ancient associations, particularly in Celtic languages. The word glass, G-L-A-S, does mean green. It also means blue or gray and carries a connotation of death. Just think of the color of a corpse. Or if your food was turning blue, would you eat it? No. It would have gone bad or been dying on the vine, and you would throw it out. The ominous and dangerous beheading ceremony prevalent in Sir Gawain and the Green Knight makes apparent this work's connection to death. The earthiness of the Green Chapel, coupled with its name, lend it an older, more basic feel. A cavern covered by an earthen mound harkens back to Neolithic times. The British Isles are covered with green burial mounds, beneath which their ancient ancestors lie slumbering. Newgrange in Ireland is one of the most famous of these. Could this burial mound cavern chapel be a signpost to a primeval point of origin? The Green Knight, or Bertilak, plays a headsman-like role in Arthurian legend. He is the figure that judges and finds wanting King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, who were legendary for their valor and courtesy. Not one of them, except Gawain, took up the challenge. So while this romance is about extolling Sir Gawain's exceptional chivalry and courage, the much more ancient archetype of death is also firmly embedded in the tale. The labrys, or double-headed Celtic axe, brandished by the Green Knight, is reminiscent of the scythe, traditionally wielded by death. But does this figure have a more historic function? Let's see if we can find one. As usual, with my research, the function lies in the name. The Green Knight's actual name was Bertilak, Bertilak, or Bernlac. In Middle English, Bern indicates a man, a knight, soldier, or warrior, or a lord or noble. That's the easy one. Bers could mean several things, but appears to come from the Old English bers, B-E-R-C, a birch tree or poplar. Berth, we already have. That could mean beautiful, fine, or fair in Welsh. And an alternate, abertos, is Proto-Brythonic for sacrifice. That tracks a lot closer to the Green Knight's function. As to the second part of Bertilak, or Bernlac's name, the Middle English word lack, L-A-K, indicates a lack or deficiency. So what does that give us? Bernlac may mean man, knight, or lord, the lesser. Berslac seems to mean the birch tree, the lesser. Berthlac would mean the fair, the lesser. And Abertoslac means the sacrifice, the lesser. Any one of these might work well enough. The tale calls Bertilak both a knight and a lord, so I think the generic Bernlac, knight or lord, or else Abertoslac, to do with sacrifice, are the likeliest choices. The beheading game has all the earmarks of a formalized ceremony. It occurs on an annual holiday, Christmas, and a specific weapon, the double-headed Celtic axe, is utilized. This weapon is known from more ancient times. It appears in the form of a labrys in a ceremonial context in the Palace of Knossos on Crete, dating to the Minoan era. We're talking a few thousand years BC now, people. This so-called game, therefore, is likely an arcane wounding ritual, maybe some sort of Celtic bloodletting ceremony. Its objective is to replenish the earth, the kingdom, and/or the king at the turn of the year, in the dark season of winter, and welcome spring anew. What happens if no one takes up the challenge, or if the champion's courage fails? Best guess? No rain, no crops, and famine. By stepping up, Sir Gawain and his little green friend have prevented chaos, starvation, and ruin. Could this have anything to do with my other theory, mentioned in last week's episode, about the dual meanings of the Seneschal's names? Remember, Cleodalis may have derived from the Celtic stem words kelatalos, split brow, and Bertolais, similarly rendered as Bertelos, cut brow. Same second word, different initial word with the same meaning. So, according to this theory, cut brow becomes the Green Knight, who in turn becomes the Grim Reaper, who cuts the throat or brow of another and submits to being cut in turn by that other. One of Sir Gawain's names, by the way, is Gonfall, which means scythe wound. Coincidence? I don't think so. The final connection here lies in the Green Knight's geographic designation, Haute Desert. In Middle English, haute means high or haughty. Desert is an Old English word. While it does mean desert, and, in an odd turn, eloquent, desert also indicates a wasteland. There has been much talk in Arthurian legend about wastelands or marches or borderlands. For instance, the widow lady of Camelot, mother of the later Arthurian hero Percival, who rules the marches, or wastelands, of Camelot. I have postulated in past episodes that this area indicates the borders region of Scotland, or possibly a narrower segment of that region. Borders, of course, is the area between the two walls, the Antonine and Hadrian's, which seems to have been a disputed area, often overrun by Picts, Irish, and other marauders in Arthur's day. Alternatively, it has been suggested that, as the Gawain poet employs a Northwest Midlands dialect, which would have obtained along the border of England and Wales, and that this border area, in the 14th and 15th centuries, experienced several Welsh rebellions against English rule, the poet may have been referring to this violent, unstable area, and not to events specific to the Arthurian era. Whatever he meant, Haute Desert Bertilak's arena, seems to have been different to the realm ruled by King Arthur. Its denizens played by their own rules, a different set of ethics than the civilized courtiers of King Arthur's court. And yet, the poem suggests that they had their own morality, or at least their own immorality. It seems to be asking its readers to judge for themselves which is better. The point is that it was other. What that other was exactly, and what the real Bertolais was, is anyone's guess. My guess? I think Bertolais was a Pict of the northern borders area, as indicated by his name, who played by Pictish rules, while Arthur and his court adhered to more southerly Romano-Briton rules. I believe Arthur's court was sometimes forced to cooperate with Pictish law, although they may not have agreed with it, because the land passed through Pictish women from mother to daughter. If you want the land, you play by the landowner's rules. I believe the Arthurians resented this, and so cheated from time to time, while appearing to be going along with the game. The Green Knight episode appears to be one of those going along with it times. As you can see Gawain fumbling. He doesn't really know what the rules are, what the point of the game is, or even where the Green Chapel lies. He is unfamiliar with his host, and ill at ease with the seductive lady of the manor. He doesn't know the Green Knight's identity. He's uncertain whether the man is going to hack off his head and kill him or not. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. The knight merely nicks Gawain on the neck with his axe. But there's something very ancient and bloodletting and ceremonial about all of this, something more than meets the eye. The Gawain poet might have been trying to illustrate courtly values like chivalry and honor and courage to his medieval audience, but he may have pulled his story from a more archaic source, when, other than courage, these values weren't top of the list. The point of the original exercise may have been an earth fulfillment ceremony following a courage testing ceremony. Or it might have been something else altogether. Gawain wasn't just some knight at King Arthur's court, remember. He was Arthur's eldest sister's eldest son. That made him the legal heir to Arthur's throne. King's sons did not inherit. The land passed through the mother line, which in this case was Arthur's mother Igraines, eldest daughter Anna, mother to Gawain and Modred. When Gawain died, that inheritance passed to Modred. So perhaps this ceremony is a record of a fitness to rule testing of the heir apparent, Gawain. That seems the likeliest interpretation. And Bertilak, or Bertholais, or Bertolais, was right at the center of it. This secret identity, as a cultic potentate of sorts, gives us the answer to the question we've been seeking. Why would Arthur's court have accepted a convicted murderer like Bertolais to judge their beloved queen? The answer? Because Bertolais held a higher position than a mere knight or seneschal. Other Arthurian figures, chief among them Merlin, played multiple revolving roles. Merlin was known as a politico, a kingmaker, a religious, possibly a bishop or archbishop, a spy master who often went in the guise of a shepherd or beggar or madman, and a general who carried Arthur's standard, the Pendragon, into battle. Bertolais seems to have been cut from the same stripe of cloth, a man who drifted between court and country, exile and position, who posed from time to time as a warrior, historian or bard, a seneschal, a judge, an executioner, and a religious. He played a dangerous game and survived and thrived for a good long while. Eventually, his luck ran out. I will discuss that in next month's theme, The Fairest in the Land, the false Guinevere, and early Snow White. Who exactly was the false Guinevere? Why did she hate her half-sister Queen Guinevere so much? Could she have actually been the real Guinevere? Or were her actions the product of something darker, more sinister? Was the great affair between her and King Arthur really love? And how could Arthur have mistaken his true queen for another woman if they were not identical twins? Find out starting next week on Camelot Chat. If you can't wait for more Arthurian lore till the next episode, you will find my historical fiction novel, The Wanderer and the Wolves, told from the young Queen Guinevere's perspective on Amazon.com. The link is included below. To support the show, check out the supporter link below, and be sure to check out my author page at shanaverestudios.com. Until next week, people who read live in many worlds. Books are the surest portals to those worlds. So keep living, keep reading, and keep dreaming till we meet again.